Hey, random.
Hey Sharkie,
Guess what I did?
what did you do?
I made my very first Warhammer model and painted it.
What model is it?
It is the Warboss with Attack Squig.
That's awesome. Do you want to talk about the Warboss with Attack Squig?
Yes.
All right, let's get into it. How much did that model cost you?
It cost me 37 bucks, which does sound like a lot, but I don't think so.
Yeah, I think if you think about Warhammer from the perspective of its game pieces, not its plastic sprues, I
Mm-hmm.
think the cost feels a little less. It doesn't hurt as bad to pay $37 for a game piece
Right,
as it does to pay $37 for a plastic sprue.
right. And you can play with this model for as long as you want.
Yeah, that's true. There's a lot of value in Warhammer models when you think about it in their like longevity as game pieces. Like the
Mm-hmm.
game has been around since the 80s and lots of the pieces are still entirely playable.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have models from second edition that I still play.
Nice.
So from a cost side, it sounds expensive, but I don't think it's a terrible value. There is one problem with this model though.
There is one problem with this model. It is so hard to get.
It can be hard to get. Yeah, it goes out of stock really fast. Like I know both of us have examples of times that we got an alert either from Games Workshop themselves or from like an online retailer of Warhammer that in the time it took us to stop what we were doing and try to buy them, they sold out. And in
Yes.
some of those cases, it
Literal
was yeah, it
minutes.
was minutes. Yeah, yeah, like 10 or 15 minutes. So it can be a hard kit to get, but it does come back in stock frequently. It just sells out super fast when it
Right.
does, and I think there's a reason for that.
I think so too.
And we'll kind of get into that at the end of the video. But right now, let's talk about the kit itself.
Yes.
So this was the first Warhammer model you put together.
Mm-hmm.
How long did it take you to put it together?
It took me about an hour.
Okay. So I've built 3 of these guys,
Mm-hmm.
and it took me about maybe 10 or 15 minutes for the first one, and definitely less than that for the other two.
You are also far more practiced because just on this table alone, there are over 80 models that you have put together and painted.
Yeah, I put together a lot of Warhammer models,
So
so
you,
I'm pretty good at just kind of cracking the pieces off of the sprue and slinging the thing together.
yep.
Yeah. Um, how long do you think it'll take you to put together your next one?
Now that I've put one together, it might take me 30 to 40 minutes.
I bet it'll take you less than that.
Oh, you think
I
so?
think it will.
We're gonna time it next time.
We'll time it. Do you think it's a cool looking kit?
It is so freaking cool. I love it.
I also think it's a cool kit. It reminds me a lot of like the classic third edition Warboss. It's posed in a very similar way, and that makes me very happy because I loved that model. It was a big, chunky pewter model. It was a pain to put together. The thing was always falling apart because the arms were so heavy that they would just like break off of the body all the time unless you used like the world's strongest super glue. And so I love that it looks like the classic, but is not a giant chunk of pewter that's just going to fall apart every time you look at it.
Yeah, this is a super rad model. I love the claw. Um, this might be silly, but I think the little attack squig is adorable.
Yeah, he's supposed to be ferocious, but ferocious can be adorable in its own way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a pretty easy kit to build too. It's like 12 pieces, 13 if you count the base.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the pieces are really big, like the body and the arms are big pieces. They fit together really
Really,
nicely.
really well. And
Yeah.
even the little pieces are fairly easy to work with. So this is a really great kit for a beginner, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a really good starting point. Um, it's also like it's not just a good starting point because the kit is easy to put together. It's also a good starting point because if you want to play orcs in 10th edition,
Mm-hmm.
this is an incredibly useful model from a gameplay perspective.
It is.
Like I have 3 of these. You have 3 of these.
Finally.
And there's a reason for that, right?
Yeah.
Like, on the Wa turn, this guy gets 9 attacks.
Bonkers.
They're hit on 2s.
Awesome.
They're strength 11.
Mm-hmm.
They're AP -2, which is fair. There are definitely things that have better armor penetration.
Mm-hmm.
They're 2 damage. There are definitely things that have better damage. But when you consider that he's only 75 points and the squads he can lead, like, in the game, this is a really good model. It's a great place to start if you're building an Orcs army.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's probably one of the first models you want to buy if you can get it. If it's in stock,
get it.
This is one of the first models you should buy because it's so useful. It can lead knobs, it can lead boys,
Mm-hmm.
and it can lead breakaboys. So 3 good squads, and those squads are seen in both casual and competitive play.
Mm-hmm.
And it fits into almost all of the detachments.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you could run this in Warhorde. I mean, you are running it in Warhorde. You're running 3 of it in your list in Warhorde. I'm running it in Green Tide. I'm running 3 of it in Green Tide.
Mm-hmm.
You could run it in Bully Boys. Every Bully Boys list that I tested before I settled on Green Tide had 3.
Mm-hmm.
Or some of them might have had 2, but
sure.
But still used multiples of it. And it fits into Tactical Brigade because you need a lot of characters. Mm-hmm. So it, gameplay wise, you know, it slots into 3 squads really nicely as a leader,
mm-hmm.
and it fits into 4 of the detachments. So I think almost any direction you go with Orcs, this is a good model to start with.
Right. Yep. I 100% agree. Plus, again, he looks really rad.
Yeah, and I do think that's really, you should pick models that you like before you pick models that are just good for the sake of being good in the game. Mm-hmm. Because the game changes edition to edition, and even like week to week, the metagame can change.
Sure.
So you should really be picking models that you think are cool anyway. And this guy is very cool.
Mm-hmm. He's got rockets on his gun.
He does, yeah. He's got rockets on his gun, and he doesn't just have 1 gun. He has 3 guns.
He does have 3 guns.
Because more DACA, better DACA.
Mm-hmm.
So overall, I would give this kit like a AAA+. Like, I don't think I can rate this kit highly enough.
Yeah, for the cost to how good it is, this is a really great kit.
Yeah, and good not just in the game, but like good to build and good to paint and good to, like, just all around. Yeah, great kit.
Super fun. This is a super fun model, and you should get it, even if you're not playing Orcs.
Okay. I don't know that you should buy it if you're not playing Orcs, because that just makes it harder for Orc players to get their hands on it.
I mean, fair.
It is a kit that runs out of stock. But he is very cool, and if you are playing Orcs, you should definitely buy at least 1 of these and as many as 3 of these.
Mm-hmm.
I've been Random.
And I have been Sharkie.
Thanks for tuning in.
And check out some of our other videos.